EA buried one of the best World War II games ever made, and the crazy part, most people probably don't even remember this game existed in the first place. Not because it was bad, not because it wasn't doing something unique, but because the studio behind it got shut down before the game ever had a chance to grow. And after replaying the Saboteur recently, I genuinely think that's one of the biggest gaming tragedies nobody talks about today. Because nearly 16 years later, this game is still doing things that feel fresh. Which raises the obvious question: how did EA let this game die? The Saboteur came out in 2009, and if you have never played it before, the easiest way I can describe it is this. Imagine Grand Theft Auto, imagine Assassin's Creed, now throw them both into Nazi-occupied Paris, and that would have been the Saboteur. That alone would have been enough to make this game memorable. But what made the Saboteur special wasn't just the setting, it was how it made liberation feel. Most open world games tell you that you have helped an area, the Saboteur actually shows you right in front of you. Occupied streets are drained of color, grey streets, grey buildings, grey atmosphere. The city feels absolutely broken and hopeless. Then you start fighting back, you destroy checkpoints, you sabotage fuel depots, you blow up anything with a giant Nazi logo on it, and slowly color starts returning to that sad area. The music changes, people come back outside, and the city starts feeling alive again. And honestly, even today, I can't think of another game that pulled this off quite as well. So, you weren't actually clearing icon stuff on the map, you were watching Paris breathe again. And speaking of Paris, I think that's another reason why the Saboteur stands out. Because most World War II games put you on a battlefield, you're storming beaches, running through trenches, fighting on the front lines. The Saboteur does something completely different. It drops you into an occupied city, you aren't fighting a war from the outside, you are living under occupation. And that completely changes the atmosphere. Even now, sneaking through Nazi-occupied Paris feels unique. There still aren't many games doing that. And honestly, Sean Devlin deserves some credit too. Because Sean isn't your typical World War II protagonist, he's not some decorated soldier, he's not some elite operative, he's an Irish race car driver, guys.
This must be that British mechanic who thinks he's a driver. I'm fucking Irish.
And already that's pretty unusual for a setup for a World War II game. Sean actually left Ireland because he was a wanted man. He ends up racing in Europe trying to build a life for himself. But after events surrounding a race in Germany, everything starts going wrong very quickly. Like the war spreads, Paris falls, people close to Sean get caught in it, and before long, he's dragged into the French resistance. Now, I wouldn't call it the Saboteur's story is perfect. Some parts are definitely stronger than others. I think it does a really good job explaining why Sean becomes the Saboteur, right? It feels personal. He's not fighting because somebody handed him a mission briefing. He's fighting because he has its own reasons. And honestly, that makes him feel far more human than a lot of World War II protagonists. He's sarcastic, he can be absolutely reckless, sometimes downright stubborn, but that's exactly why I like this guy. The Saboteur wasn't trying to tell the same World War II story everybody else was telling with their games, and Sean Devlin was a huge part of that. And this is the part that surprised me the most while I was replaying the Saboteur. Not the graphics, not the story, the freedom. The Saboteur constantly gives you things to do without making it feel like a checklist simulator. You see a sniper tower out there, go on, destroy it. You see propaganda speakers hanging on the wall, go on, destroy it. You see a fuel dump? Well, you guessed it, you can absolutely destroy that too. There's always something worth blowing up, guys. And because all of it feeds into your progression, the chaos never feels pointless. It's one of those games that understands something modern games sometimes forget. Fun doesn't always need an explanation. Sometimes players just want a playground. And the Saboteur absolutely delivers on that. And this is the part where it gets a bit frustrating, because games like this don't usually just disappear. Something must have happened, and yes, something has definitely happened here. Pandemic Studios created the Saboteur, right? The same studio behind Mercenaries, a team that clearly understood how to make sandbox games fun. Then EA shut them down. Figures. before the Saboteur even had a chance to become a real franchise, before it could find a larger audience, before it could get a sequel. It's just gone just like that. And honestly, I think that's the part that still bothers me the most. Not what the Saboteur was, but what it could have actually become. Because imagine Pandemic got another shot at this formula. Imagine another Resistance story, maybe in the Netherlands where I'm from, maybe inside Germany itself, maybe somewhere else occupied during World War II. You could keep the Liberation System, you could keep the Sabotage, maybe Sean Devlin returns, maybe you follow an entirely new character. Imagine watching another occupied city slowly come back to life the same way Paris did in this game, right? The possibilities were honestly pretty exciting, and we'll never know where that series could have gone, because the studio never got the chance. And whether you love EA or hate EA, it's hard not to look at the Saboteur and wonder what could have been. Because this wasn't another generic World War II shooter, it had personality, it had style, it had ideas, the kind of ideas people still remember over a decade later, and I am living proof of that. The thing that annoys me isn't that the Saboteur was perfect, it definitely wasn't. Some of the shootings feel dated, the AI can be a bit dumb at times, and parts of the story are just okay. But none of those things are why people remember this game. People remember it because it had an identity. You immediately knew what game you were playing. The black and white city type of game. The Resistance fantasy, Sean Devlin, the rooftop climbing, the chaos, the atmosphere. There still isn't really anything quite like it on the market right now, or I have never seen it. Let me know down in the comments if that's the truth. And that's exactly why losing it hurts. Not because of what it was, because of what it could have become. So is the Saboteur worth playing today? Well, I'd say absolutely, yes. It's not a masterpiece, but it's a memorable one. And sometimes that's far more important. Because 16 years later, I am still thinking about it and even making this video. Still wondering where a sequel could have gone. And that's why I think EA made a mistake. The Saboteur wasn't just another World War II game, it was one of the most unique ones. And it deserved far better than being buried and forgotten. But now I am curious, have you played the Saboteur? And if you have, where do you think the sequel should have gone? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you're interested, here is another video YouTube thinks you might enjoy. I hope to see you there, and thanks for watching.